Hey there, Scott Dailey with Dailey Dailey Real Estate. Today we're going to be talking about new home construction through Lennar. But before we get to that, let's back up to a few things. First of all, who are we? We've been in business for over 20 years. We're locally owned and operated at the Delaware beaches, and our brokerage has more experience with new construction homes than any other brokerage at the Delaware beaches. And what we want to do is we want to help take the fear and the anxiety out of the home building process and make it fun, but ultimately make it successful. Meaning that if you are a little nervous about building new, or you just want someone to come alongside you that understands new construction, we want to talk to you. We want to talk to you before you start talking to the builders. We're going to walk you through that entire process. When you move into your house, we're going to continue to walk alongside you and be a resource in the community. And we understand new construction better than any other brokerage because we also own a home building company called Lennar Homes. So today we're talking about Lennar. And so a couple of things that you need to understand about any of our builder reviews are simply this. One is we're going to categorize the builder, and we're going to talk about value, and then we're going to talk about the one most important feature that none of the builders really talk about. And then we're going to talk about Lennar, but bear with me, I think this has a lot of value. So first things first, where is Lennar? Lennar is a publicly traded national company. They are a giant company. They build tens of thousands of houses a year. So we talk about large, publicly traded production builders. Lennar is one of them, okay? So we're just gonna put that there, and you understand that you're dealing with a massive company. And that has good and bad things, which we'll get to. The second thing to talk about is what makes a good value. And what we encourage people to do is to listen to the builder and see what the builder is saying about themselves and see if that aligns with what you're looking for in new construction. Because what the builder ought to be able to do is they ought to give you a promise. The promise is this: if you give us X amount of dollars, we will deliver this product. And that has to be the dollars that make sense in your budget and the product that you think is worth that. And if the builder does that, if they deliver the product they promised at the price they promised, then we're going to consider that builder to be a good value. So it's important to understand. Third thing to understand is location. One of the things that's going to be true about Lennar is they're going to build in premium locations. They're a national builder. They have the capital to invest in very, very nice sites, communities. And so if you love the location and Lennar is the only option, then it's just a question of how can I get through Lennar's process to ensure a successful house that I'm happy with, and because location is still the most important thing in real estate, still the most important thing in new construction. And so we want to be cognizant of that reality, that it gets really easy about selecting builders if there's only one location that you really want to be in. And we're not judging that. I don't want you to hear that there's a negative attached to that, because that's a really important thing. Okay, so when we're talking about Lennar, we'll talk about things. So they have some of the common pros and cons of a large national builder. Some of the pros are they have a very well-established reputation. Some of the pros are they're not going anywhere. The company's not going to be disappearing out of the market. They're not going to go bankrupt. You're always going to find Lennar, be able to get them on the phone. Sometimes people that come and they buy at the Delaware beaches have experience with a national builder. And so they feel comfortable because they can they understand that brand, they've seen that brand in other markets, and to a certain degree, they can trust that brand. So that's point number one, is the publicly traded the publicly traded company is probably something that you can rely on to be around. Because what you're not thinking, and one of the main differences about new construction versus buying existing homes, is in new construction, you're generally creating a multi-year relationship with your builder. And so Lennar is going to be around for that relationship. Now, just a word about that: when you deliver 20, 30, or 40, 50,000 houses a year, and you go online, I don't know what people say about Lennar online, but generally speaking, as you know, with a lot of reviews, like Google reviews, most people only go on there when they have negative things to say. And so if you build 50,000 houses a year and 99% of your customers love the product, you made 500 people upset. 99% is a pretty good success rate. And I'm not saying that any of that is our Lennar statistics, but what I am saying is when you sell in the kind of volume that any of these large companies sell at, there's going to be a lot of online noise, which is usually a pretty small minority of their customers. And most of their customers are just living their lives, and they come to the beach and they don't get involved in bitching about the builder. They get on with their lives. But, to each his own. So here's what you're going to get with Lennar. Generally speaking, Lennar is going to build spec homes, meaning they're going to have inventory homes, and you're going to sort of walk through them and you're going to pick them. The reason why in our recommendation, you want to buy an inventory or a spec home through Lennar is you're going to get a better deal. They will build for you. You're going to get a better deal. And the reality is this, with a large production builder, you're not going to get a lot of choices if you want to build with them. Now, if you want a specific home site that they haven't built a house on because it has a pond view or because it's close to the pool or the clubhouse, if the neighborhoods have that, then there can be a conversation with Lennar. Generally speaking, with Lennar, you're going to find that they are not using top of the line, high-end materials. They're using decent materials. The idea that this house, if I buy from a big national builder, my house is going to fall over. No, it's not. But if one of the values for you is I want great finishes, I want to have a lot of different options, I want to be able to sort of craft my new home around my life as I'm building it, Lennar's not a good choice. That's not what they promise. And a person who is wanting those things, which are all great things, and is looking at Lennar is not going to be happy because that's not Lennar's program. Generally speaking, a lot of their houses in this market are built on slab foundations. Slab foundations have their positives and their negatives. Their floor plans are generally updated and very livable. But again, you're going to get limited options. And there are times and ways to negotiate with these large national builders and their inventory homes. And that's some of the expertise that we can bring to the table from Dailey Dailey Real Estate. So if you're looking at Lennar, just know what they are, which is a large, publicly traded, massive production builder, and what they're not. And if you want a semi-custom home, if you want a home with high-end finishes, and you want a lot of involvement in the building of that home, then they're not going to be a good fit. But that doesn't mean that it's not a quality house. That doesn't mean that they're not selling hundreds of them down here. It's just a function of finding the right fit for you and making sure that your builder is the right fit for you and that they're a good value because they keep their promise. And we do think Lennar is a good value in terms of what it does in keeping its promise. This is what they say they're going to do, and this is what they do. And that's why it's important to listen to what they say they're going to do, because a lot of times people go into these national builders and they say, I want this high-end semi-custom home. Lennar isn't delivering that product. Not in their cabinets, not in their windows, not in any of those things. They're not doing it, but they never said they were. And that's really, again, not traditionally been their program. And so, again, that's our take on Lennar. We'd love to walk you through this process. I'm Scott Dailey from Dailey Dailey Real Estate.